What is going on, guys? Welcome to the WrestleGasm YouTube channel and welcome back to the Global Wrestling Alliance series on TEW 2020. This is episode 7. We are one night removed from our pay-per-view event, First Strike, which went tremendously well. In terms of the booking, it could have gone a little bit better, but financially, which was the main kind of goal, was to make money, it went fantastic. So we're going to try and do one pay-per-view a month, and tonight we're here with the 5th episode of Showcase on the USA Network, which for anyone who didn't see the pay-per-view episode, I highly recommend you go back and watch that. But in it, we announced there will be a tournament to crown a new champion, and that will be crowned at the next pay-per-view, and I'm excited to get into it. We do have a couple of things to go over. Well, actually, one of the things I was going to go over is in between the last episode and this episode, I've sent contract offers to a whole bunch of people, but I can't show you who they are because we're in the PM mode. So if I remember after this show, I'll show you who they are. And the other thing I want to say, and I'm going to get this out of the way now because it's probably going to be in the video title, we're going to be launching a developmental company. I think we made enough money off pay-per-view, and it looks like we can make enough money each month off of pay-per-view that I really want to get a developmental off the ground. I probably should wait to see how our financial gain goes, but I'm just going to send it. And so we'll get into that in just a little bit. But first, we have episode 5 of Showcase booked and ready to go on the USA Network. So let's jump into it and see how it goes. Okay, so we are live from the Southwest. We have an attendance of 2,500, which I believe, excluding the pay-per-view, of course, is our best attendance yet, so you'll love to see it. In a pre-show bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Bull Payne defeated Barry Horowitz in 10-14 by pinfall with a pain game. That gets a 47. Pretty good for a pre-show match. These guys just hadn't been booked in like a month, so I thought, let's give them a match. I will also say there are some guys on our roster currently who I'm just going to be sending down to developmental. For anyone who's watched all the episodes, you can probably guess who a few of those are. Bull Payne might be one of them. He puts on pretty good performances, but he can't do a match over 10 minutes. Or at least a road agent would recommend 10 minutes most. So he's probably going to go down, but yeah, pretty good pre-show match. In a terrible pre-show match, Susan Sexton defeated Cheryl Rusa in 9:34 by pinfall with a bulldog. So why is this terrible? Because the segment rating is a 50, which I'm pretty happy with. So Susan Sexton is on our roster. Cheryl Rusa is a local worker, so we're just testing her out, and her performance was pretty bad. But I don't get why this was a 50 and still terrible. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Especially if the last one was decent, and I think that was in the 40s, unless I've just already forgotten what it was. But either way, a 57 from Susan Sexton is pretty great, so we might have to actually really use her as a strong force in the women's division. Final pre-show match. In a pre-show bout that had subpar wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, Doug Furness and Phil LaFon defeated Brian Cox and Mike Anthony in 11:52, when Doug Furness pinned Mike Anthony with a Frankensteiner. Brian Cox was the weak link. So, yeah, this one was Furness and LaFon debuted a week ago in episode 4 of Showcase, which was episode 5 of the YouTube series. And they copped a loss to the Samoan SWAT team, but they had really good performances, so I want to try and build them up as a strong tag team in GWA. But also they have they're unimportant or unknown, whatever it is, in perception. So I want to try and build them up. I know a pre-show bout isn't that good in terms of gaining popularity, but the card on the televised show was pretty stacked with tournament matches. So there's that. Cox and Anthony, not great before. Actually, Anthony was alright. Cox, not so great, but they do have excellent chemistry. So you know what? I might sign them for the developmental and have them be a tag team there. So we'll see how that goes. But 50, I'm pretty happy with that. We move on to the televised portion of the show. The GWA Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel opens the show and thanks everyone for helping make First Strike a great success for the company. We're looking forward to bringing more pay-per-view events very soon. In fact, the next pay-per-view will be where we crown our first global heavyweight champion. But the journey starts now as we start round 1 of the championship tournament. Bockwinkel announces the bracket of which we will see the first 4 matches tonight. And that bracket is as follows. Tonight, we will be seeing Tully Blanchard coming off a successful pay-per-view main event victory, taking on Dynamite Kid. Jushin Thunder Liger to face Tom Pritchard. Cactus Jack to face Terry Gordy. And Bam Bam Bigelow versus Vader in tonight's main event. On the next show, we have Dino Bravo taking on a currently unknown opponent. Dan Severn will take on Nikita Koloff. Rocky Johnson to face Samu of the Samoan SWAT team. And the main event will be Jerry the King Lawler versus Kevin Von Erich. So I think that is a pretty great list of competitors. We've got 16 of them, and I am very excited to see how these matches go. Nick Bockwinkel did not do well without a script. That surprises me. He's got a 90 in mic. Is there anything else I should be looking out for when it comes to improvising? Because I thought it was just mic, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that surprised me a lot. He's got another talking segment later on, so I hope that does well. We open with a bout that had great heat and decent wrestling. Tully Blanchard defeated Dynamite Kid in 11:50 by pinfall with a slingshot suplex. This was part of the Global Heavyweight Championship tournament. A 60 I'm very happy with. The match was too short for an important match in the eyes of our audience. We're going to get that quite a bit throughout this tournament because we do have to do TV time. You know, we're fitting in... It's generally going to be 5 matches on a show because there's going to be 4 tournament matches, which is round 1, part 1. Next episode will be round 1, part 2. Episode after that will be round 2. After that, we'll be into the semifinals and we can cut down 2. So these shows are going to be 4 tournament matches and then 1 extra match in between because I didn't want to just be all that tournament stuff, you know? But a 60 I am very, very happy with. Lou Albano visits Vader backstage once again to tell him that there's a spot in the championship tournament for him. All he has to do is say yes to Albano being his manager. Vader says that since Albano has kept his promises, earning him matches with Tony Atlas, Jushin Thunder Liger, and now a title opportunity, Vader would be glad to have Albano by his side. Lou's excited to be working with the Mastodon, promising big things for both of their futures, starting with the Global Heavyweight Championship. So it is official. Lou Albano is now managing Vader. 62 segment, that's pretty good. And yeah, not much else to say about that. It's Vader versus Bam Bam locked in for the main event. All right, now before we get into the next match, I do want to say I just paused the recording for a second and I went back into the booking screen because I did make a mistake. I didn't update all my storylines that I had listed in the game. So the only real issue we've had with that is the Tully Blanchard Dynamite Kid match didn't progress the Global Championship Tournament storyline. But if that's the only thing we missed out on, that's fine. It's fixed now, so we can move forward. In a decent match, Jushin Thunder Liger defeated Tom Pritchard in 10:32 by pinfall with a shooting star press. 62, very happy with that. So Tom Pritchard, he debuted a couple weeks ago. You might remember he fought Scott Armstrong and got the victory. And then Jushin Thunder Liger, obviously I don't have to explain why he's in the tournament. So I believe that means Jushin Thunder Liger will take on Tully Blanchard in the next round. Buddy Landell is backstage. He visits Tully Blanchard Enterprises, which is, of course, Tully, Ellering, and the New Breed. He visits them in the locker room as they celebrate Tully's round 1 victory. Landell is happy for Tully and joins in the celebrations before asking when he'll be initiated into the group. The celebrations die down as Tully has to tell Buddy that he isn't joining them. The deal was just to help Tully win at First Strike, not to recruit him. Obviously, they would have paid him or something. But Buddy's upset because when the offer was made to him by Paul Ellering, he was under the belief that he would be joining the group, which he is not. So he's quite upset. Tully says that he's sorry for the misunderstanding, but they'll happily pay him for more of his services in the future. and then he goes right back to celebrating. Buddy walks off feeling defeated yet again. So of course, Buddy has had a really poor run in GWA. He got rejected by Lou Albano, just copped back-to-back losses from Vader, Liger, and Cactus Jack, and now he has been rejected by Tully Blanchard Enterprises. So what is next for Buddy Landel? We will have to wait and see, but it certainly doesn't look good. In a poor match, Tina Moretti and Wendy Richter defeated the Glamour Girls in 9:55 when Tina Moretti pinned Leilani Kai with a Moretti driver. 55. Why is this a poor match? That's not a bad match. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand at all. Either way, this was, I can't remember what the original booking was, but this was the Glamour Girls versus 2 other people. But we have a small women's division at the moment. We need to expand on it. But in terms of the faces, it's just Ivory, Wendy Richter, and Manami Toyota. And Wendy and Manami just fought, so we didn't want to have them teaming up. Oh, no, that's right. I remember what it was now. Manami was originally in this match in place of Wendy, so it was going to be the Glamour Girls versus Ivory and Toyota, but none of them had very good pops. We had to throw Wendy Richter in there. And of course, with Richter in the match, we couldn't really have her job out in this one, so they got the win. Again, I don't know why it's listed as a poor match, because it wasn't that bad. Shall we see the whole thing? Jerry Lawler makes his way out to the Chris Cruz corner accompanied by Austin Idol. He's here to address his loyal followers. Since he had much better things to be doing than appearing on First Strike this past weekend, he starts by saying that the Armstrong family legacy in GWA has been diminished. Scott was sent packing, and Jerry is proud of Idol's work defeating Steve Armstrong on the pay-per-view. However, Jerry wouldn't be opposed to getting his hands on Steve as well, and showing him the same fate that he gave to Scott. Next week, it's time for Lawler to start dismantling another family legacy when he takes on Kevin Von Erich in the tournament. He claims there isn't a single member of that family capable of taking down the King, not Kerry in the WWF, who's currently the Texas Tornado, not the underwhelming brother Lance, and certainly not the golden wannabe Kevin. Jerry says that in just a few weeks he will win the Global Heavyweight Championship, and he will add it to his gold collection right alongside his crown. We're just gonna, yeah, there it is. But yeah, basically just a promo of strong words there from Jerry Lawler, hyping up his match next week against Kevin Von Erich, which is honestly a match that I am very, very excited for. And 79, that is a brilliant segment. In a decent match, Cactus Jack defeated Terry Gordy in 11:52 by pinfall with a double arm DDT. Well, first of all, Cactus Jack advances to round 2 of the Global Heavyweight Championship tournament. One thing I'm noticing is, like, this is a great match by our standards. Like, I think this is actually one of our top few matches, but it's only decent. Now, I know the time plays a factor in this because we can only make them short matches for TV time, but maybe more large signings need to be on the way. Maybe we need to, because if this is one of our best matches and it's only decent, we should be doing better. So we'll put some effort into that real soon. Bob Backlund is backstage to everyone's surprise, because if you remember at First Strike, he lost to Tully Blanchard, which means he's no longer a part of the company. And yeah, everyone backstage is surprised to see him there, and you can see in his expression that Bob still hasn't recovered from the loss to Tully, but he makes his way to Nick Bockwinkel's office. Nick actually asked Bob to have a meeting with him, and Nick lets it be known that he doesn't agree with the way Tully conducted himself at First Strike when Buddy Landel interfered. Technically, it was within the rules because he wasn't a TBE member, but Bockwinkel does not agree with it. Now, he can't actually reverse the decision and reinstate Backlund as a GWA member, because the board of directors basically said, you know, fair's fair, but he's not a team member, so it works. But what Bockwinkel can do, because he sympathizes with Backlund, because Bockwinkel has full power to pick the tournament contestants, he will allow Backlund to enter the Global Heavyweight Championship tournament, and next week he can face Dino Bravo in round 1. And if he manages to win the tournament, if he gets all the way to the end and he becomes the first ever GWA Global Heavyweight Champion, then there will be no choice but to re-sign Bob Backlund as an active member of the roster. So with that news, Bob is overjoyed, and he promises that he will not let this opportunity go to waste. So that gets us 70, and Bockwinkel was superb working without a script. So I don't know what changed. I don't know what the difference was between this and the first segment, but I will take it. It's a very, very good segment. I believe it is main event time. Holy shit, it is. And about that great wrestling and good heat, Vader defeated Bam Bam Bigelow in 15:25 by pinfall with a Vader bomb. And Vader moves on to round 2, where he will be facing Cactus Jack. 77. I believe that's our best match by quite a bit. Unless I'm remembering our top matches wrong, I think that's our best by like 10 points. Like, not even kidding. I think it's our best by like 10 points. But yeah, Vader moves on. We finish the show. I want to see. Yeah, okay, so that confuses the hell out of me. Bull Payne versus Barry Horowitz was a 47, but that said it was like decent or something. And then this match was better, but apparently terrible. I don't understand. If anyone can explain that to me, why the women's matches were labeled as worse, but rated as higher. If you could tell me what's going on there, I'd greatly appreciate it. But yeah, increased our pop in 11 regions. Would have gained pop in 7 Canadian regions. And a 69 overall rating. That is, first of all, nice. Secondly, our best rating yet, I'm fairly certain. Definitely, no, that is our best rating. I think 65 was our best one so far. And I think that's largely to do with the tournament. The tournament's going to bring out the best in our ratings because it's just going to be main eventers going at it every week. Drawn a lot of praise. You'll have to see it. Don Callis is in there. Okay, we might have to look at that. So if we have a look, top 100s, yeah, 69. Previous best was a 65. So there you go. Matches, yeah, 9 points higher than our second best match. So brilliant stuff. Tournaments, yes, as you can see, Tully will take on Liger and Cactus Jack will take on Vader. But next week, Bob Backlund to face Dino Bravo, Nikita Koloff versus Dan Severn, Rocky Johnson versus Samu, and Jerry Lawler versus Kevin Von Erich. Great stuff. But now that we're back in the AM stage, let's have a look at a couple things. First of all, a couple new signings. Now, generally, if I'm making a big signing, I won't show you guys because I want it to be a surprise. But at this point, there's no one that's like a major signing. There's some, like Booker T is a huge signing, but at this point in 92, he's not all that well known. So we're going to have to build him up. But we've got Booker T and Stevie Ray. We're doing a bit of Harlem Heat. We've got X-Pac. We've got Jerry Lynn. Blue Demon Jr. was an interesting one because he is very over in Mexico at this point. And like he puts on some great performances. If we have a look, match history, like 86. I know he's not going to get quite that high because he's not anywhere near as popular in America, but he can still put on some good performances, I would imagine. But CMLL went on a big like WWE style firing spree, and he was one of them. And I don't get why, because look at that popularity. Anyways, maybe they're trying to cut costs. I don't know. But he's one of them. Then we've got Pat Tanaka and we've got 2 Cold Scorpio. So they're all hopefully coming to the GWA. They haven't accepted their contracts yet. And now the last thing we are going to do for this episode is we're going to launch our developmental. So let's head over to investments. Invest in a new company. Now, I don't know what this company is going to be called. I think for now, I'm just going to say GWA Developmental. And it's not going to be called this. We are going to give it an actual company name, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Give me some ideas. Tell me what you want the company to be called. This is basically going to be our NXT, our OVW, our power plant, our whatever you want to call it. Do we want to set it in the Southwest? That might be for the best, but let me look. Okay, so there's 2 companies, none, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, a lot, 2, and a few. Okay, I think we'll just do Southwest so we can build up our developmentals pop there so we can get better performances when they come up to the main roster. Invest in a new company, GWA Developmental, GWA Dev. And then how much money do we want to sink into it? A mil feels like too much from the beginning. I'm thinking 500 still feels like a bit much, but if we go down, we're getting really low in the pop. So I think I'm going to go with the 500. Schedule we'll set up ourselves. Product. I'm going to keep the same product. Yeah, I was going to turn off a women's division for this just because there's not a whole lot of women's wrestlers available who have high stats. But I think there's enough in general that we can work it out. So, yeah, GWA Developmental, create 500 grand. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, let's save that. Let's head into the mod settings, go workers, wait for it to load. Okay, unknown booker, this is just the character I use. Oh god, what's happening? Okay, so right click that, copy, and we'll just call him unknown booker 2. Except I think we have to make it so that he is not a user character. So save that. Load up the game again. Import unknown booker 2. And then we are going to add new player. Default rep. Does that have... Okay, that's... Yeah, fair enough. User talent, I just always go default. Play as this character, and then we are running GWA Developmental, play as owner. And there we go. We now have a developmental company up and running. Obviously got to sign a roster and everything. I've already got a few ideas, but yeah, I'm excited to get into it. So yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think the developmental company should be called. I was kind of hoping this would start us out small, not insignificant. What do we need to get up there? Oh, sorry, tiny. 17. We can get there. That's no problem. All right. Well, yeah. That's about it. So yeah, let me know what you guys want the company to be called. Let me know what you thought of the show. Who do you think is going to win the championship tournament? And yeah, thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you all next time.